Good afternoon, Brawl Stars community, and welcome to another Brawl Stars Brawl Theory video. In this video, we will be focusing on the most recent Brawl talk and its numerous hints to Star Park, as well as Gus's heavy connections to the lore. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe with notifications on so that you never miss future Brawl Stars content. Thank you. Alright, without further ado, let's begin by first addressing one of the newest brawlers, Gus. It's obviously great news that he is a super rare brawler, which means we can acquire him more easily than others. However, I think he might be one of the most heavily connected brawlers to the Star Park lore ever. Before we get to that, we need to first determine what brawler family Gus fits in. You may think that he fits in with the gift shop trio, as he shares some distinct similarities to Colette and Edgar. However, that trio is already full. The completed Star Park gift shop trio is Colette, Griff, and Edgar. At this time it isn't fully clear, however I think that's because he doesn't fit into any of the current brawler trios. He is the first member of a brand new trio, that trio being the Star Park Victims trio. Now, I have some theories on the two possible other brawlers and who they could be. Firstly, Leon's and Nita's parents, because, as we saw from the investor video, they never returned. They might have just been held hostage or killed entirely. Secondly, is the original host of the investor video. After he relays the message that
in the future, the children control
he is instantaneously replaced by a different host, and the original host seems intoxicated and motionless. Let me know if you think that this trio is a possibility, if you agree with any of my theories on the brawlers, and if you have any possible theories on brawlers that could fit with this new trio. Now, back to Gus. The main reason I believe he is part of the Star Park Victims trio is because I believe he is dead. Now, you may remember this photo from a post Brawl Stars made a while back. Recognize that balloon? That is the same balloon that Gus holds. It's just a small color variation, which I assume was Brawl Stars' way of not giving away the brawler's actual item. I think there's a reason why Mortis is the brawler holding Gus's balloon, and it might have to do with the symbolism or backstory lore of the brawler itself. I think his character fits somewhere in with the undead trio and the world of the undead, that being Mortis, Frank, and Ems. All brawlers that are quote-unquote dead, but somehow alive. That is why Mortis is the one holding the balloon. They are related in one shape, way, or form. They are part of the undead trio, the brawlers who have died and come back to life, like Gus has. That is the reason his attacks are ghosts. It's due to the fact that he is no longer a living brawler. It gets even creepier than that, as Gus's brawler description states he follows a strange balloon dog and got lost forever. We can assume that from there, he wasn't actually lost, but captured by Star Park as a kid. Gus looks almost identical to the child seen in the investor video, behind the host, motionless. The balloon dog might have just been a trap to lure in Gus. The important question is, why was the kid left unattended, and why does he look dead? This further proves the theory that he is a ghost. That is why his attacks are ghosts, and his skin is pale like a deceased person's would be. He wasn't necessarily unattended for per se, he was already dead. It is also why in his brawler description they state that he has been there ever since he died or was captured. He is one of the few undead brawlers in Brawl Stars. Unlike Mortis, Frank, and Ems, Gus is a human brawler that has died at the hands of Star Park. Another super interesting detail about Gus comes in the form of a Star Park listing. Remember on the StarPark.biz website back in 2020, there were a few photos of balloons. Now, it may shock you that those balloons are the exact same ones that the child is holding in the photo, who we believe to be Gus himself. An interesting detail to point out is it looks as if the child is holding the balloons, but actually, the balloons are holding the child. Now, look closely at the child's fingers. What do you notice? No distinction between the two, or should I say, three. It's as if the balloons are attached to the child, which is how I believe Gus really died. He was tested on using the poisonous gases at Star Park that the balloons were filled with. As the listing states, the balloons were filled with the original air. That original air was toxic, as we see these hazardous green gases being spewed out of the main building at the end of the investor video. You may say that the balloons Gus is holding in-game is noticeably different than those in the investor video. However, I think that's purely to add some distinction between the two balloons, and because the color gray is mostly associated with supernatural elements. However, an important detail to highlight is the fact that they listed the item as never used when we can see that the child is actually holding this exact same balloon. Why is that? I believe that this further proves the theory that Gus is already dead and they didn't want their serious crime to get out to the public, so they ghosted it as if it never happened and as if Gus never existed. Gus is a ghost child that is still oblivious to the events that transpired, and his innocent demeanor results in his continuous actions to chase his balloons, which evidently resulted in his abandoning and human demise. Something really cool worth noting is the fact that this update was teased 2 years ago, back in the investor video. If you look behind the host of the investor, you will notice the robot factory, the boss brawler, as well as the robot control center. This is very similar to the one we see in the Brawl Talk countdown, and the listings on the starpark.biz website are very similar to the robot factory environment present within the Brawl Talk itself. Well, that's all I have time for in this video. Thanks for watching this episode of Brawl Theory. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and consider subscribing. It's absolutely free and helps out greatly. As always, have a great day, and I will see you guys next time.